Assalamu alaikum and greetings to all the participants in this year's Contemporary Leadership International Summit 2025 held here in Sarawak, Malaysia. Please excuse me for my absence, but I've got 5 kids and I don't have enough time to come back and forth, but inshallah I'll see you all soon. Leadership and adversity, it goes hand in hand. For myself as a ex-All Black, a ex-NRL player, a ex-boxer, I've been blessed to have competed at the highest level when it comes to sport, but adversity and high performance sport go hand in hand. And I would like to think that for myself, my leadership style is based at its core on the Islamic principles that I try to live by. And it's really held me in good stead, especially out there on the field. You know, the simplistic messages of you won't know unless you try. Failing is part of growth. And all of these things came to the forefront of my mind when I was out there on the biggest stage. You know, I remember in the Rugby World Cup 2015, I was playing some really good rugby and I found myself on the bench in the World Cup final. And the coach comes to me, Shags, he turns and he says, at halftime, you know, we're playing some good rugby and I'm thinking, okay, maybe I might get 20 minutes towards the end of the game because that's the stock standard for a player to come off the bench. He turned to me at halftime and he said, Sonny, are you ready? And I said, a little bit shocked, sink or swim. I said, my natural reaction was, yes, of course, coach. But inside, I was really, really nervous. But then I had that mindset of, I'm here right now and I'm going to look at this as an opportunity. I'm not going to fear this moment. I'm going to step into it, embrace it. My whole life as a sportsman was geared up for me for at this time, right here, right now. I went out in the second half and first touch of the ball created a half break. Second touch of the ball set up a try which eventually helped us win the game. Rugby World Cup 2015 for the All Blacks, and that was probably the biggest stage that I had played in. Boxing, for example, in my last fight I got knocked out. But I look back at that time with pleasure because I know just like in the Rugby World Cup, sometimes things go to plan and sometimes they don't. Like in my last fight, I went out there, I remember round 4 or round 5 coming out. The bloke I was fighting against, he punched me and it rattled me a bit and I just thought, it's who dares wins. So I jumped in, tried to knock him out, and then I remember waking up. Point being that I look back at both of these times, obviously in the boxing ring, I wish I didn't get knocked out, and the learnings were to be patient, to be a bit more clinical and not to rush myself. But just like in the Rugby World Cup final, it was stepping into the unknown. It was backing myself and saying Bismillah and inshallah it works out, and then going and trying to deliver. And sometimes you deliver and sometimes you fail. But I would say that I probably learned more from that fight than the Rugby World Cup final. Why? Because, you know, after that fight, there was a little bit of soul searching that had to go on, but the answers came from within. And now it's allowed me to grow as a man, as an individual. So when I talk about adversity, leadership, it all comes hand in hand, especially at a high performance level. How do I manage to overcome these adversities? Look, life has taught me one thing as a sportsman that has been able to compete at the highest level for close to 20 years. I've understood that life has ups and downs. It's like a roller coaster, but it's those low ebb times, those times when you're on the low, if you can steady yourself and have practices, have habits, have processes that pull you back up and keep you moving forward, because I firmly believe the best deed, as the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, the best deed is the one done consistently, no matter how small it is. So for me, dealing with adversity, dealing with setbacks, it comes back to me and myself. What are my processes? My processes, I wake up before sunrise. I get up, I pray, I give thanks, I do some meditation, I do some reading. You know, all of these things are to prepare myself, but I'm preparing the future, Sonny. I'm preparing that day to get in a good space, knowing that there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, but as long as I can keep that, you know, that medium pace, keep moving forward, keep ticking boxes, then generally speaking, you can deal with adversity a lot better, excuse me. It's an individual journey and we all have our own sensitivities, but I firmly believe the best person to invest in is yourself. Why? Because for a long time I used to say the same. For example, in my household, my sensitivities are I have 5 young kids and I have a beautiful, mashallah, wife. But to be a leader in my household, I used to sit on the saying, a happy wife makes a happy life. But I don't believe that anymore. Why? Because when I'm happy, when I'm content, when I'm pursuing, when I'm growing, when I'm building as a man, then my wife gets the best version of me. Then my kids get the best version of me. Then they get a Sonny Bill Williams or a Hamza that has a lot more sabr, a lot more patience. When I'm in the business world, when I'm striving, trying to achieve, there may be things where I sit back and think, okay, I dropped out of school at 14. I don't deserve to be in that place. I don't deserve to be in that space. And it may push me back. But after working on myself, I've been able to emancipate myself and step into spaces, and not in a cocky way, arrogant way, in a humble way, in a learning way, and one of searching for growth. And that's why I've been able to go back to school. I've been able to go back to university and achieve a degree in leadership. So for myself, leadership, adversity, I'm leading, all comes back to you. All comes back to you dealing with your own sensitivities, improving yourself as an individual, and then moving forward with an optimistic mindset, one of growth. I see leadership more than just a word. For example, as a believer, as a Muslim, I look back at some of the greatest leaders of our time, and they used to run away from leadership roles. Why? Because of the amana that came with it, the responsibility that came with it. So I'm still searching to become a leader myself. But I work at it day in, day out. Why? Because I understand my kids need the leader, the role model. My daughters need a leader, a good, wholesome man to look at, to understand that's the values that he holds. My sons need that. My wife deserves that. My parents deserve that. So when I speak of being a leader, first and foremost, whatever room I try to get into, I understand that I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm not the most successful guy in the room. But I'd like to think that I strive to be the guy that has the most morals, or I strive to be the one that's trying to work on himself. And I think when you have that that should be your core. As a leader, you got to have good morals, moral etiquette, because at the end of the day, that gives you empowerment, that gives you contentment. And I think that's why I've been able to be successful in sporting terms, because I moved around a lot in different environments, but I understood that in each team, the one substance, how I could add value straight away to that organization was through having a moral compass, through not thinking that I was bigger than the team, through greeting a worker or the CEO the same way, but also working as hard as someone that was starting off his career or someone that had the most experience. I always tried to carry this, and I think that came from a strong moral compass, one that was really embedded in me in the teachings of Islam. Especially from an amana point of view, where you roll, you move as a human being with the amana that Allah's blessed you, that God's blessed you with, entrusted you with. And that's how I try to live my life. I can speak openly and honestly from an Islamic perspective and from how I live my life. I firmly believe my rizq comes from my Creator. Does that get mixed up? Does that get blurred sometimes? Of course. The pressures of society, social media. You want this, you want that, you look at this person, you're comparing, okay, maybe I don't need to stay on the path that I need to so I can get this or get that. Look, for myself, that's how I see it. My rizq comes from my Creator, so I try and move first and foremost with a sense of morals, but that doesn't stop me from doing my best every day. That doesn't stop me from trying to improve every day. If I'm in a space or a situation where I'm working for someone or doing some sort of job, I try to perfect it the best I can, but I don't try and cheat anyone. I give them their haq and I expect my haq back. From a leadership point of view, it's always nice to collab. It's always nice to work with people, and it's always nice to learn off people. But also holding your own sense of morals, your own sense of purpose will always put you in a good space. And that's how I see that. Wallah, that's how I see it. I think, this is a great question around leading through adversity and uncertain times. From a world perspective, I like to think that the one thing that we should always check first and foremost before we do anything is our intentions. I firmly believe that we will be judged on our intentions, not our actions, our intentions. So when you get that correct, then you can move forward. Then you can put the vulnerability cap on and just move, grow, learn, study, work hard. One of the core substances that we can all have that will always push us to be the best versions of ourselves or to improve ourselves is discipline, is work ethic. You chuck some in powerful intentions on top of that, then you're on the right journey, you're on the right path. And then you will learn. And then you understand that in life, in business, as a leader, you will fail. But if your intention is correct, you'll understand that just as we fail, we can get up, dust ourselves off, take that learning and keep moving forward. From a leadership perspective, I tell my kids this every day, that as long as you do your best and as long as your intention is correct, you can't go wrong. Lastly, I would like to say again, reiterate, please forgive me for not being able to be there today. I'm proud Pro-Chancellor of Albukhary University. Much love to all my students there. But yeah, in your journey of life, work ethic, trust in a higher purpose, and make sure your intentions are correct. And may the Most High bless you all. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.